Okay, here's going to be an attempt on my part to explain what I call the mini app, and I'll try to explain it in terms of just this one piece of information in the inline XBRL document. What we want to do in inline XBRL is we want to take that 11 million, which is just a number typed by a typewriter, by a human being in Word and convert it to HTML. And then you want to take that, and what I've asked them to do is to do two things. First, mark everything with pound signs that you want to create inline XBRL for. So let's do that by pressing the first button, which is post. And now you see that it has put the pound signs around the 11. And every other number on here was done likewise. Now, you have a list that you can compare to this. I'll show you that list. And on this list, you would have gone down in order and scrolled down your list. And you would have compared every number starting with the 100, and eventually you would get to this 11 million, which is right here that we've been talking about. Notice how if you press the post button, well, the next step, okay, you can go through and make sure that you've marked up everything. The last item is 77. You would have reviewed and seen that the last item is 77. Your list matches your pound sign numbers, and then you would press the post button and it will cross out the pound sign numbers and post an inline XBRL. It'll post this code. Let's see, where's our 11 million? It would post this code inside the page, just like you have span tags or table cell tags, which we could see on that other diagram. You would have these non-fraction tags, and those are styled sort of like italics. It's called oblique. So then we go back up to our buttons because we don't need these old numbers that were typed in here after we review everything, and they're exactly the same. Even the word to up here in the narrative has to be typed as TWO in the see, that's in the narrative, so that would be up here at the top. Let me go back to that. Here it is. It says 2. We have to do it exactly the same in the list. So it was easy with the 11, but notice the 2. And it says 2018 and 2019. Notice there's 2 non-fractions nested together. And that's the reason why we have to use a wrapper around this data wrapper around the postings. So let's get back to our 11 million. We want to go up here and clean that up now that we've checked everything. We want to delete this stuff. That's why it's crossed out. It needs to be deleted by the delete original button. Now, we don't want the red numbers. The red numbers mean that if you look over here, we had a sign attribute, and that gives you the sign for this final number down here where it becomes minus 11 million. That's what we're trying to get, is the correct numbers, minus 11 million for a loss of 11 million. So this sign does it. It doesn't matter what's in there. Well, these numbers are going to have minuses But this number 2 is not going to have a minus because it's dividends, so it doesn't have a sign attribute because it was in parentheses for the presentation purposes to show how this adds up. Not all statements put brackets around subtractions, but in this particular presentation, that's what they did. If you look at our own 11 million, it's in parentheses here, but that's the same identical 11 million up here where it says loss was 11 million. So this is not in parentheses because it's described as a loss. Down here it's described as net income, and loss is clearly indicated as being parentheses. So that's all presentational. We use absolute numbers. Sign attribute is the key to tell what you want in this final database. And let's see. Then this is, so we have a button to get rid of those red numbers right here. And we have a button so that this italicization will go away. It just changes the style sheet in the document so that they're plain and they're not, and they're black. So now to get your final report, all you do is double click in this box. Let's enlarge it. And that gives you your XHTML. Notice it has certain characteristics. First of all, here's all these contexts that are linked, and here's, it has namespaces, and it has a slash notation on empty elements, and so on. And you can teach the students what that all means. So then you can copy this to your editor and then continue with your non-numerics or whatever else you plan on doing. You could place it into your editor. There's one other thing that's in here. I guess we don't have to go into all the details right now of the XBRL. Here's an example of a non-numeric tag. Some tags are hidden, so in this hidden section of inline XBRL, you're going to have all those contexts and everything, but you're also going to have this thing called a schema ref. And the schema ref is going to link you to all the rest of the discoverable taxonomy set is what the technology refers to all the other files that are needed, and all the link bases and instance documents and whatever will be linked through this root source. So I guess I'll just leave it at that, and that's 8 minutes, but it's not a complete overview.